Breaking overnight, the man convicted in the Cleveland kidnapping case is dead of an apparent suicide while in an Ohio prison right here near Columbus.
Yeah, in Orion, Castro is serving life without parole plus 1,000 years for kidnapping and abusing 3 women, Gina DeJesus, Michelle Knight, and Amanda Berry, and keeping them captive in his Cleveland home for more than a decade. Staff members at the Correctional Center in Orion found Castro hanging in his jail cell last night. They rushed him to OSU Wexner Medical Center, where he was later pronounced dead. Now, we're happy to have Dr. Bob Stinson back again. He's a forensic psychologist. You came and spoke with us when he was sentenced back in early August. I imagine with this happening, there's a lot going through your mind as far as just the impacts of this.
Yeah, I immediately think about the impact on his victims.
Yeah.
They've been working for the last month, obviously, trying to get back to some sense of normalcy, whatever their new normal is. And perhaps just as they're getting kind of reacclimated to life outside of captivity, it all gets stirred up again and perhaps being re-traumatized by this news of him committing suicide.
Now, one of his survivors, Michelle Knight, bravely spoke in court and addressed him during his sentencing, saying that the death penalty would be an easy way out for him, that she wanted him to suffer the way she had. Right. So what does this mean for Michelle Knight and for the 2 others, Gina DeJesus and Amanda Berry? Does this offer a little bit of closure? Do you think this almost is a letdown that he did get off too easy?
I think the impulse for those of us who weren't his victims is to say, fine, he's gone, it's over, house is gone, he's gone, the victims can move on. And I'm hopeful in the long term that that's exactly what will happen. This will give them some closure. But I think they're going to have some obstacles in the short term. As you said, Michelle Knight spoke at a sentencing hearing and said, we don't want you to have the easy way out. We were held in captivity for 10 years. We want you to get a dose of what we experienced. That may be what they needed for their recovery, and now they're not going to get that. The other thing is, it may have happened too fast. As I said, they're just getting reacclimated. Even if him being gone helps them get closure, it came so close to the time where they were just getting out of captivity that it may be more of an obstacle than it's worth. They may find it even completely disrespectful, for lack of a better word, that they did 10 years and he does a month. And then there's the other big thing that I'm really worried about is that they could be re-traumatized.
Right.
You know, a big concern with trauma victims is powerlessness. Well, he took the ultimate power. He said, I'm going to end this on my terms. They might be feeling some guilt over his death, perhaps. Hopefully that will be put in its proper perspective through their therapy process, and they won't harbor that guilt. And it may be that they feel like they can't trust. You know, the deal was, we take death penalty off the table.
Yeah.
He gets life in prison plus 1,000 years, and he only did a month.
Well, in going back to the power thing, you know, you talked about this last in August about how he was a controlling, manipulative person. Does it surprise you at all that he took his own life? I mean, considering how much he wanted to be in control?
It doesn't surprise me. You know, I had said before that I was concerned about how he would do in prison. There's a pecking order in prison, so I assumed that he could be victimized if he was there long. And it doesn't surprise me, frankly, that he attempted, and in this case, apparently committed suicide. He was very much a power and control freak. We know that from his offenses. And he took no responsibility, and he wasn't going to fare well in a prison system where they frown upon sex offenders and offending against children in particular.
Now, do you think that this final move of his was a way to assert his power once again, or do you think this was just him not wanting to deal with his reality?
I think...
Like, was this a manipulative move on his part again, just to get the ultimate kind of, I guess the ultimate end for him was to control?
Yeah. I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think we heard in his sentencing statement he took no responsibility.
And that's what's strange to me is it seemed like he didn't feel sorry, so it doesn't seem like this is something that he feels so guilty about that he just needed to...
Yeah, no. I don't think that this was done out of, you know, a lot of suicides, unfortunately, are committed out of guilt and depression. I think this was committed out of, I'm not going to do time in prison. Okay. I'm not going to be a potential victim. And he ultimately took control and power and ended things on his terms.
Well, lots of information we're waiting to hear about, of course, from the prison and from officials involved in this case. We're looking forward to that as well. But we certainly appreciate your time this morning.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for coming in.